Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'Yeshem, Barakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Ba'Yeshem, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Raya with another video. This is going to be another video showing how these Edomites, or the so-called white man, woman, and child, aren't the friends of you Israelites, who are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. These Edomites have a spiritual and perpetual hatred towards you Israelites, which goes all the way back to the womb. And it goes much deeper than just skin color, because you have some Israelites that look like so-called white people and some Edomites that look like so-called black and Hispanic people. It goes back to the fact that we got the birthright and the blessing to the kingdom of heaven from them, and they felt some kind of way ever since. Just look at our history together, from colonial times to the antebellum South, through Reconstruction to Jim Crow, Margaret Sanger, and the so-called civil rights movement in the 20th century all the way up until today. These Edomites have done nothing but oppress and try to kill off you Israelites. You've still got a lot of these cops shooting so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American men down dead in the streets. They put Planned Parenthoods in our neighborhoods to advocate for our women to get abortions. They give us poisonous food and water to consume. They push all these false ideologies on us, like Kemet or Egyptology, Christianity, or Islam, to take us away from our true power, Yahweh Ba'Yeshem Yahushai. And with the northern kingdom down south on the border, you've got a lot of those Israelites in those ICE detention centers where their families get broken up and their kids get sent to God knows where. More often than not, those children are sold into child sex trafficking. But with all this being the case, a lot of you Israelites are still trying to save these Edomites. If you ever notice, when these hard-headed and brain-dead Jakes come up to the camps to try to argue with us about the scriptures, the first person they always ask about is, what about the so-called white man? You rarely ever see him ask about these Moabites or so-called Chinese, or these Ishmaelites or so-called Arabs. Well, you niggers, spics, and tontos are going to learn the hard way, because we're coming into a terrible time known as Jacob's Trouble, where there's going to be a vicious and violent race war, where these Edomites are really going to let loose on you Jakes and kill you off in large numbers. So that's why it's imperative for you Israelites that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear to hearken back unto your power, Yahweh Ba'Yeshem Yahushai, and do whatever you can to take yourself away from this society and these Edomites as much as you can. I mean, you still have to work with them, but outside of that, just keep your distance. And to you Israelites that may be dating or married to an Edomite right now, you better do some soul searching to see if they truly are an Edomite or they're just a Israelite foreigner. Because in that time when these race wars pop off and you're found being with them and they are actual Edomites, you're going to be thrust through and put to death. And your children are going to be dashed to pieces. But now I'm going to start it off with Genesis chapter 27 and read verse 34 to 41 to give a little background on Esau's perpetual hatred. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob, which means supplanter? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou reserved a blessing for me? And it was always meant in the spirit for Jacob to get the blessing and the birthright. The Most High just had to play out this way. Verse 37, And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. Pretty much being in control of the entire planet. As it says in Job 9 verse 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And you can clearly see that the rulers right now are these Edomites. And they got this rulership through, as it says in verse 40, And by thy sword shalt thou live. Another part of their blessing was the sword, or their military might. And these Edomites are known for their military hardware and their science. And shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, or his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And they've had this sentiment unto this very day. This is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, the days for mourning for my father at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, your blessing, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So point blank period. Nothing will change between Jacob and Esau. There will always be adversity between the two races until these Edomites are eradicated from the face of the earth after that first 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery. And I'm going to play a few videos and go into a few articles showing this perpetual hatred that these Edomites have towards you Israelites. And I put it in a certain order to show that it starts off pretty benign, them just calling Jake niggers and stuff like that. But as we'll see, it progresses to them being more physical, showing their hatred towards you Israelites. And again, as I said at the beginning of the video, it's all going to culminate in a vicious and violent race war. This is a video from worldstarhiphop.com titled, Whoa, so-called white or Edomite woman calls Israelite couple the N-word in front of her children.
Doing one of those permanently, motherfucker.
Eric.
Go ahead, I will.
Do it.
Sit down. Don't you dare talk to me in front of my kids like that, motherfucker.
Call the cops because you threatened me.
Watch
Please,
this.
it's not even worth it.
Watch this. It's right, because they're niggers. That's why, because they're fucking niggers and he's safe.
Oh, don't say that.
Eric. Put your hands on me. Put your hands on me. Come on.
Eric.
Put your hands on me. Put them on me.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. I'll record.
It's not just the Edomite man that's a devil. This Edomite woman's a devil too. There are countless accounts out there of so-called black men being put to death because an Edomite woman said that he raped her.
Eric, you motherfucker. You motherfucker.
I'm a nigger, right? I'm a nigger.
Motherfucker. That's right. You're a nigger and he's saving. Please,
Just
watch
walk
this
away. Just
motherfucker.
walk away. Don't be a nigger.
Eric, go sit down. Eric, go sit down. Fuck you, nigger. Eric. Motherfucker. Motherfucker. You motherfucker.
How classy. This is my second article on DefenderNetwork.com. Hospital workers fired for using Israelite babies as Snapchat puppets. That lily white snow queen at it again, showing her love towards you Israelites. If this doesn't look like perpetual hatred to me, then I don't know what is. An Israelite baby that's just been born into this planet, still getting treated like the scum of the earth. How I currently feel about these many Satans. 2 naval junior corpsmen were fired from a hospital after posting images and videos of themselves playing with Israelite babies, making them dance and insulting the newborns on Snapchat because, some people are just evil. Well, some people are just Edomites that have a perpetual hatred. According to News4Jax in Jacksonville, Florida, Facebook user Denisa Shalito originally discovered the pictures on Snapchat and posted them on her Facebook page saying, "A girl I went to high school with is a Navy nurse and this is how her and her shitty friend treat the babies that have just been born. My blood is literally boiling and I want to snitch because that is someone's child." The first pic is her friend who is making the baby dance and she's playing rap music in the background. I'm livid and I'm snitching because she could get fired from her job, but IDK how to go about it. Pissed isn't even the words. The 2 women, identified by WGCL-TV as Allison Thompson and Joni Barrett, posted a Snapchat video of themselves shaking the babies as if the infants were dancing to 50 Cent's In the Club. Another picture shows the woman holding up her middle finger at the child with the caption, "How I feel about these many Satans, for thou hast had a perpetual hatred against the children of Israel, and hast shed their blood by thy force of the sword." This is an article from blacknews.com titled, "School Apologizes After Teacher Painted Fake Bullet Wound on Israelite Student's Forehead." As you can see, their anger and hatred is starting to manifest more physically, painting a bullet on a child's head, showing how they really feel about you Israelites and what they would like to do to you. Birmingham, Alabama, the mother of Amon Jackson, a 7-year-old Israelite student from Alabama, is upset that her son came home with what appeared to be a gunshot wound on his forehead. Apparently, one of his teachers painted it during his drama class. It looked so real in person that it looked like something happened, Zakiya Millhouse, the boy's mother, told AL.com. It was supposed to be a gunshot wound. That's when I got upset. A gunshot wound. Jackson is a second-grade student at Phillips Academy in Birmingham. His mother strongly feels that putting makeup to make a fake bullet wound was inappropriate to be included in the lessons. This actually happens to our Israelite young men, she said. If you saw it in person, it looked real. His mom took a photo of her son and shared it on Facebook. The principal then called her to apologize and said that it was indeed unacceptable. The teacher who put the makeup also spoke with her. She said he didn't think it was a big deal because he doesn't think an Israelite's life is worth anything. He said he did paint on different kids, such as black eyes. He said was going to take it out of his lesson plan. And so far, you've been seeing these Edomites show their hatred towards the southern kingdom, or the so-called Negroes. But with my last article, we'll see that you so-called Hispanics of the northern kingdom aren't safe either. Ever since Trump got in office, they've really been showing their horns towards you. And when these race wars kick off, you're not going to be exempt. And you, northern kingdom, are just as big a coons as the southern kingdom. I had a friend in the world who was northern kingdoms, and we got to talking about the possibility of a race war once, and he told me that if there was one, that so-called Hispanic and so-called white people would get together. Well, you're in for a rude awakening, my friend. And this article's on usatoday.com titled, "Man 61 Accused of Throwing Acid on So-Called Latino Man's Face in Possible Hate Crime." That perpetual hatred. You see, it's escalated from words to actual violent acts. Milwaukee, a 61-year-old man has been arrested in connection with an acid attack on Milwaukee's South Side Friday night that police are investigating as a hate crime. Mahoud Villalaz, 42, suffered second-degree burns to his face after a man he described as being an Edomite and in his 50s or 60s berated him and threw acid at him. In security video footage first obtained by WISN TV, the two men are seen talking in front of a restaurant when the suspect points at Villalaz and then tosses acid at his face. Villalaz can be seen stumbling away from the man, who then slowly walks towards Villalaz, and who goes around carrying battery acid with them. That guy was going out there looking for trouble. It's an image of that Jake. The victim of an acid attack is being treated at Ascension Columbia St. Mary's Milwaukee Hospital. Here's a video of the incident right here from Cherney Amara on Twitter. Video shows the moment a man was hit with battery acid. Police arrested the culprit and call it a hate crime because the victim, who is a so-called Latino, says before he was hit by the Edomite male suspect, he called him illegal. And this video could go on for hours with just all the constant information coming out on these Edomites showing their hatred towards you Jakes. So you Jakes, you better wake up, because the doors for repentance are quickly closing. You're seeing that social media platforms like YouTube are censoring our content more and more, and then eventually they're just going to outright take these videos down and then come against the men of the Lord on the highways and byways, and then that'll bring about that famine of the word where you Israelites won't be able to find this word. And if you haven't been spending this time being diligent and getting as much knowledge as you can, drinking from these rivers of living waters as much as you can, then you'll be caught out there with your ass in the breeze during Jacob's trouble, and will have to take whatever comes your way. Now I'm going to get back into some more precepts. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Speaking of you Israelites in Babylon the Great, which is the biblical name for the United States of America, besides spiritual Sodom and Egypt. And it's not telling you to depart from this wicked kingdom physically. It's telling you to depart spiritually, coming out of the ways of life of Babylon the Great and its different ideologies, hearkening back unto your power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, because it is polluted and shall destroy you. And as we saw from those examples in those articles, we're seeing how this wicked kingdom is polluting and destroying you Israelites. Even with the sword destruction, that sword destruction is going to come when these race wars kick off. And as I said at the beginning of the video, if you're with an Edomite and you're found with that Edomite during these race wars, they're not only going to put you to death, but your children as well. Look at this image up here. That's the spirit. You got a picture of a Jake with an Edomite. This is Isaiah chapter 13. I'm going to read verse 14 to 16. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. And that chaste roe is speaking of these Edomites, because even though these Edomites are going to be coming after you Jakes during this race war, during Jacob's trouble, all these other nations of people are going to be coming after the Edomites as well. Even a lot of you Jakes. It's going to be everybody against everybody. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee every one into his own land. Once these race wars kick off, there's going to be no more we are the world spirit in Babylon the Great. Everybody's going to go back to their own tribe and fight for their own. Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. You coons, spics, and tontos who refuse to hearken unto your power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, and think that these Edomites and other nations will be your friends in that day, that everybody's a red-blooded American that bleeds red, white, and blue, are going to learn the hard way. You're going to receive not an ounce of mercy, and nobody's going to feel bad for you. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai is going to laugh at you, and his men, the prophets, are going to laugh at you. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just do whatever you can to stay as far away from these other nations, especially these Edomites, as much as possible, and hearken unto your power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, so you can have that protective hedge over you during these coming terrible times of Jacob's trouble. As always, I'm going to say Abba Ball, Kwam Yasharallah. Till next time, Shalom.